Hey there, everybody. We're just gonna be getting into some 50s fashion today. Yeah, we're gonna start out with some basic factual stuff and then kind of move into an outfit of the day segment that is inspired by 50s fashion. So, without further ado, let's get into it. During the 40s and World War II, many resources were funneled directly towards the war efforts in Europe. This included many textiles. With the end of World War II, fashion transitioned to looks based more on style and proving one's social status rather than looks based on necessity. New fabrics allow for a major transition in fashion. Acrylic or artificial wool and polyester, which was a chemically created fiber, were both chemically created fabrics made by the DuPont company. Wash and wear clothes also allowed people to wash their clothes and hang them up without worrying about wrinkles. Another big change was the beginning of marketing towards primarily female teenagers. With the baby boom, there were now more teenagers than ever, and they had more leisure time, excess money from parents, and part-time jobs of their own, which allowed them to purchase more clothes. All of these factors allowed for an exponential rise in consumerism that characterized the 1950s and the fashion industry of the time. Women's fashion took a step back during the 50s, going from the comfortable, functional work clothing of the 40s, with square shoulders, straight silhouettes, and pants, to the voluminous fabrics and hourglass figures of the 50s. Women's return to their traditional roles post-World War contributed heavily to the shift in style. The rise in conservatism, affluence, and conformity caused this. Women's appearance was now linked to their husband's success, and looking put together became an essential part of everyday life, and took up a lot of money and time. The new look was glamorous, mature, and the media played a big role in this new obsession. Radio, TV, and magazines constantly reminded women of the importance of looking good. Ads for beautification products and mail-order catalogs were examples of how post-war economic boom and consumerism deeply impacted women. Part of the reason for this very popular new mentality in terms of fashion was Christian Dior's influence. Christian Dior created a mid-19th century reminiscent look in 1947, which was deemed the new look. It dominated the 50s decade and permanently altered the course of the fashion industry. According to the new standards, women should be homemakers who always appeared presentable. Mass production and ready-to-wear clothing allowed for the spread of homogeneous fashion and promoted these feminine ideals. In addition to that, designer labels were also on the rise, especially in terms of accessories. Perfume, gloves, bags, shoes, hats, ties, and all manner of accessories were being branded by designers. Dior led this movement once again, and brand importance has come back in the present. Many popular brands also set up boutiques in places like Paris and New York. This trend has become a norm in today's fashion world. In addition to this, designers would hold 2 fashion shows each year, and US or British clothing makers would buy the rights or even steal the designs and mass-produce cheaper versions to sell in department stores. This tied into the wartime revolution in production. In terms of counterculture and women's fashion, few designers strayed away from the new look, with the exception of Coco Chanel. She despised the new look and reopened her business after the war by creating slim suits, which were her signature piece. These were typically made with wool and tweed fabrics. In addition to Coco Chanel, Hubert de Givenchy, who often dressed actress Audrey Hepburn in her films, created the sack dress in 1957, which was completely loose and drew no attention to the waist, the total opposite of the new look. This dress inspired the incoming tunic dresses of the 60s. Here I am modeling the first look. This is just one that I kind of based off a typical everyday housewife look that someone might have. Here I'm just showing off the shoes that I'm wearing and the petticoat and everything, just giving you kind of the full view. These are the sleeves that are kind of reminiscent of that 3/4 length that was pretty popular back in the day. Just kind of posing. I don't really know what I'm doing, and you know, there's a little kiss for you. There you go.
As you can see, I have a lovely scoop high neck sweater on with 3/4 length sleeves. It's kind of got that cinch on the cuff that was pretty common. I have a tight fitting waist skirt. It's an A-line skirt that flares out, and underneath I have this big fluffy petticoat so I can get this full skirt effect. And then, as you can see, for earrings, I put in these little pearls. Something like this would be relatively common, something simple but a little bit elegant. I also popped a little ring on there because I'm supposed to be a housewife, so gotta keep the ring on, gotta let everybody know that I am married and sad. In terms of my makeup, I followed a pretty simple routine. What was pretty common in the 50s is a thin arched filled in brow. So I have kind of big brows, but I did my best. A bold lip was pretty common, or at least a strong lip with rounded peaks. Eyeliner was very common, and shadow that matched your shoes or your purse was considered a very classy thing. So I matched this as best as I could to the blue shoes that I'm wearing. And I also put a little bit of rouge on the cheeks, just because that was to, you know, make yourself look a little bit flushed, have a little bit of color. It was not common at that time to do the very that we. Now this outfit is more of like a typical teen school everyday outfit that one might see. This is probably the most you know, recognizable look that you're going to see, that you would think of when you think of the 50s. Yeah, just very schoolgirl, felt skirt, collared blouse. I did a little sock hop dance for you, and there's some finger guns. Now, as you can see from me sipping my Orangina, this is a classy evening look for a mature lady. This is a, I believe, silk dress. It's a little more form-fitting, but it still has, you know, a decent bit of modesty to it with the low knee length. And there's some pearl necklace in there. I've got some heels going on. Yeah, just again with the pearl necklaces and the classy jewelry. And there's also a modesty panel, which was really popular back then. Starting out with some fisticuffs. This is, I guess, a sort of counterculture, what you might think of as like a female greaser type of look. Just a little bit more risque, still kind of on theme with the new look, but a little bit more scandalous, I suppose. We have that red bandana in there, looking really, really tough. Great job. Off the shoulder black blouse and a high-waisted form-fitting skirt. It's a little longer than they probably would have worn. This is not an authentic 50s piece, but the tight waist is definitely on brand with this time. Jumping right into the next look, we have kind of a younger look, probably a girl going to her prom. This dress is authentic 50s. It is actually from Saks Fifth Avenue. It has that classic petticoat look, the very tight waist. It also has a boned corset inlaid in the dress, so that's real comfortable. I also put a little Letterman jacket over it just because, I don't know, maybe her boyfriend's on the football team and he, you know, he gave it to her 'cause she's cold and, you know, beauty is pain. So, yeah, she's just kind of chilling. And, yeah, there's the pearl necklace again. I kind of took the red lip off because I figured that was more of a older lady type of look.
A girl to call